The United States told South Africa as early as May 2024 that it would not accept Mcebisi Jonas as ambassador. But the public is only learning the truth now. What really happened behind closed doors? Dive into this gripping exposé. Subscribe now for unfiltered political insight. In a revelation that is now sending shockwaves through South Africa's political corridors, new information has surfaced confirming that the United States government had already communicated its firm rejection of Mcebisi Jonas as South Africa's potential ambassador to Washington as early as May 2024. This disclosure not only intensifies diplomatic tensions between the two nations but also puts President Cyril Ramaphosa's administration under fire for what many are now calling a deliberate effort to mislead the public and blur the lines of accountability. The development raises serious questions about the state of South Africa's foreign diplomacy, internal transparency, and the strategic miscalculations that have led to a potentially embarrassing standoff with one of its key global partners. At the heart of the controversy is Mcebisi Jonas, a former Deputy Minister of Finance and one of the prominent figures who played a pivotal role in exposing state capture during the Jacob Zuma years. His name has, for years, been synonymous with anti-corruption efforts and standing up against political interference within state institutions. It was widely assumed that his integrity and global appeal would make him a respected representative for South Africa abroad. But now, in light of the United States' refusal to accept his nomination, it seems clear that Washington sees Jonas very differently, perhaps as a political operator too close to the very powers he once denounced or as a potential risk to a stable diplomatic relationship. The Biden administration, according to leaked communications, made it known to Pretoria as early as May that Jonas would not be accepted as ambassador, citing unspecified concerns that are believed to relate to both political and security considerations. Yet for months, the South African government seemingly kept this rejection under wraps, allowing speculation to swirl, public statements to contradict reality, and diplomatic uncertainty to grow. This delay in disclosure now appears less like bureaucratic oversight and more like a calculated political decision, a decision that may ultimately backfire. Sources inside DIRCO, the Department of International Relations and Cooperation, who spoke on condition of anonymity, have described a rushed and confused effort within the Ramaphosa administration to manage the fallout of Washington's quiet but firm rebuke. Internal memos reportedly circulated between mid-May and late June warning that pushing Jonas forward despite U.S. objections could result in a full-on diplomatic snub. Still, the nomination was not immediately withdrawn. Some insiders believe the delay was a stalling tactic aimed at buying time while Ramaphosa's inner circle scrambled to come up with an alternative nominee who would both satisfy the ANC's political interests and Washington's expectations. But that tactic seems to have failed. What makes this saga even more dramatic is the broader context in which it is playing out. South Africa's foreign policy under Ramaphosa has come under increasing scrutiny, with critics pointing to a pattern of erratic decisions, mixed messaging on global conflicts, and strained relationships with traditional allies. The ambassadorial fallout with the US follows a series of missteps, including South Africa's controversial stance on the Russia-Ukraine war, its flirtation with BRICS expansion, and accusations of cozying up to autocratic regimes under the guise of non-alignment. In such a climate, the rejection of a high-profile envoy such as Jonas is not just an isolated embarrassment, it is a symbol of a deeper diplomatic dysfunction. Publicly, the South African government has so far maintained a cautious posture, refusing to acknowledge the rejection directly. Instead, statements have focused on ongoing diplomatic processes and the need to respect the sovereignty of partner nations in ambassadorial matters. But behind closed doors, officials are reportedly furious, some at the Americans for their hardline stance, others at their own leadership for mishandling what should have been a straightforward diplomatic appointment. The ANC itself is said to be divided, with some members expressing quiet relief that Jonas will not represent South Africa abroad, while others believe the rejection is part of a broader Western agenda to undermine influential African leaders who challenge the status quo. Jonas himself has remained largely silent, choosing not to speak publicly since the controversy erupted. Those close to him describe a man disappointed but not shocked, and others speculate he may have known the appointment was doomed from the beginning. There is even chatter that Jonas had initially declined the role but was later persuaded to accept it as part of a larger political maneuver orchestrated by Luthuli House. If true, it raises even more troubling questions about the degree to which South Africa's international diplomacy is being driven by internal party calculations rather than national interest. Opposition parties have not missed the opportunity to seize on the scandal. The Democratic Alliance has already called for a parliamentary inquiry into the matter, alleging a cover-up by the presidency and Dirkel. The EFF, never shy to hurl accusations, has gone further, accusing the Ramaphosa administration of dragging the country into diplomatic humiliation while failing to uphold transparency. Civil society groups, too, have chimed in, warning that the incident reflects a dangerous erosion of public trust and the increasing politicization of international appointments. As the truth continues to unravel, what started as a quiet diplomatic disagreement is quickly becoming a storm that could redefine South Africa's foreign policy credibility. In Part 2, we explore the damage already done, Washington's silence, and what happens next. Subscribe and stay locked in.